All right, so we are going to quickly look at our cool down from yesterday. So the equation, which is what stumped a lot of us, was just y equals x plus 3. Because each one of these are increasing from x to y by how many? It's increasing by how many for every one of these? 3. So for the first one, it's 3 plus 3 is 6. Next one, 4 plus 3 is 7. Next one, 5 plus 3 is 8. 6 plus 3 is 9. 7 plus 3 is 10. A lot of you guys wanted to tell me times 2. The rule has to work for every number. It can't just work for this first one, right? So if we did 3 times 2 is 6, that works, but then 4 times 2 is what?
8.
8 does not equal 7. So that's why 2x or 2 times x did not work. There's a couple. The equation was the reason the majority of you guys got a 67 and not a 100. Okay? And then down here, your independent variable is the type of paper, and the dependent variable is the distance that is traveled based off of the weight of the paper. Okay? Questions? If you got a 50 or below, you may redo it, turn it back in. If you're like, no, I'm good, I'm just going to keep my grade, that's fine too. All right, go ahead. Turn to the next blank page in your notebook. So you need to title it Independent Dependent Variable Notes. You're going to need a highlighter. Get credit for your homework yesterday and you have it, you need to turn it into the third period then. You guys need to have some work at it. Got it? Okay. Why are you worried about what's going on in my room? You jealous because they do fun things and y'all gotta do work?
Yeah.
So sorry for you that whole Maybe if y'all can prove to me that you could handle playing a game, we would do something fun, but I don't know if y'all can handle it.
I mean, considering some people are fun.
Right.
That's also
You're not
true.
wrong.
Exactly.
That's also true.
I'm with you. I agree. All right, so there's going to be a quick, just a little bit of notes that we're going to do, fill in the blanks, some highlighting. Then we're going to do a guided practice, and then y'all are going to do an independent practice. And it's going to be, again, the majority of what you're actually going to be tested on is your independent practice today. All right, so an independent variable is a quantity that stands alone and is not changed by other quantities, most often x variable. Alright, so then go back in and highlight independent variable, stands alone, is not changed. Alright, a dependent variable is a quantity that changes depending on another quantity as a result of the rule. And your rule, guys, so if kind of position your paper where you're gonna glue it in. Your rule is the equation. Okay? If that makes sense. So your y changes depending on what you plug in for your equation. Okay? And is most often the y variable. Alright, so you need to highlight dependent variable, changes depending on another quantity, is the result of the rule or the equation.
Why does it say most often?
Because when you get into 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, the variable, depending on your slope, depending on y-intercept, there's a whole lot more that goes into independent, dependent variables. So basics, it's usually x, usually y, but there are times when it will be flip-flopped. Alright, so our example that we're going to use today to fill out the rest of this is every 10 days, Anna adds $20 to her savings account. If she saves for 80 days, how much money would she have? Write an equation, make a table, alright? So rereading it again, it says every 10 days Anna adds $20 to her savings account. What is important in that question? Cooper L.
For every 10 days, we're doing $20 in our account.
So every 10 days, we add $20 to her account, okay? Next sentence says, if she saves for 80 days, how much money would she have? All right, what's important in that question, or that sentence slash question? Cooper?
Saves for 80 days.
So saves for 80 days. Anything else?
How much money she would have.
Right, and then this is what we're trying to find out. How much money would she have? All right, so what do you think our equation is going to be? I will let you know it's going to be y equals something. What do you think the other part is? Based off of this information up here. Why don't you take like 30 seconds and talk to your group members and see if you guys can come up with something.
I think X times, not we can that's 20. I would get 10 days. X times. Yeah, because I think the other one. Because okay, so if you have to put 10 right here, this is this is
Alright. There's a lot of interesting, you should not be just coloring. There was a lot of interesting conversations. Some that were on task. Thank you. Some that were not. Leve, what were you guys saying over there when I stopped you guys?
I was kind of thinking, I don't know if my brain was processing, but I said 20 times 80 to the power of 10, so that's thinking every 10 days, so that's the power, and then the money she gets times how much days she, or like how much days she saves.
So I need you to become my accountant and definitely do my taxes for me. Because you are about to make me a whole lot of money that I don't have. So, but it's a good conversation and I liked what you guys were talking about. It's not on the right track, but you're at least having that conversation about it. So they were essentially saying to the power of 10. And I get why they're saying to the power of 10. I like that they're thinking, okay, well, every 10 days. I also like that they were at least having that conversation. So that was a good conversation. Michaela, what were you guys talking about?
We were like, Jason had this whole problem because he was trying to figure out x and we weren't doing that yet. And our equation was going to be 20x. Yeah, y equals 20x. And then he was like, yeah, but 20 multiplied by 10 divided by, 80 divided by 10. I'm like, no, we're just doing x.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay, so how many of you guys legit were like, I'm a little confused because I have 10, 20, and 8. The 80 is there for what reason? What is the 80 there for, Jack?
Show how long she saved up.
Right, so does that actually have anything to do with our equation?
No.
No, that's simply the information that we're gonna use when we go to answer our question, right?
But the equation is different. The equation is just how long it is.
Right, so the equation only has to do with 10 and 20. So with knowing that you're not looking at this information, I'm gonna give you another 30 seconds and see if you can come up with a more, not insane equation. Because so far they're pretty insane. Alright, go ahead, 30 seconds.
Yes, the days would be because for every 10 days, it would just
We haven't wrote the. Oh, the independent one? No, we have not even wrote the equation. Oh, okay.
He did.
Guys, you're not filling anything out at all. You're just having a conversation about what you think the equation might be.
See, I was writing on it to give an example.
Yeah, he was helping the group.
Yes, guys, the equation is
Hey, you're the ones who have to erase
We're not erasing.
Alright, let's talk about it. Christian, what did your group come up with? Nothing? Even narrowing it down to 10 and 20, you had nothing?
Well, I have a bit of a thought, but I didn't really mention it.
Okay, what's your thought?
That it might for division.
Am I what?
Might for division.
Okay, so you might have to do something with division. I like it. Raheem, your group, what did you guys come up with?
You came with, I think you came with like 160.
No, not the answer. Equation. You shouldn't have been solving anything because we don't have an equation yet. So what equation did you guys come up with?
You came with 20 times x equals
20 times x equals?
y.
Okay. Why'd you say 20 times x?
At first we were thinking addition, but Gabriel told us those was each addition,
Okay. So based off of what I'm hearing you say, we almost have to identify our independent and our dependent variables first before we can write our equation. Oh, so you mean like we can't just write an equation with like not knowing what's what? So is the equation something that you do last or close to the end? All right, so let's go ahead and let's figure out our independent and our dependent variables. All right, so what do you guys think is the independent variable? Cooper,
Days.
why?
Because the amount of days determines how much money she has saved.
Ooh, I really like what you said. Say that one more time.
The amount of days determines how much she has saved.
All right, so days is our x value. It's our independent variable.
Yes.
So then our dependent variable is what?
Her money.
Right, so it's going to be the money in savings. Or just money, it's fine. If you wrote just money, that's okay also. Alright, so you're telling me that X is the days, Y is the money saved. So, does X increase or decrease? What do you think?
Increases to become 80.
Well, it increases every what?
Every
Every 10 days.
Every 10 days,
Yes.
right? So,
Wait, X is the days though.
Yeah.
but it increases by
yeah.
20 every 10 days,
The
right?
money, yeah.
So X increases by 10 every 20 days.
Hmm?
So X increases by 10, 20, or Y increases by,
Wait, every 20
Why?
yeah,
No, it's 20.
sorry, every 20, not days.
Okay.
Yeah.
My fault. Too many,
Days.
yes. It's been a long week. I feel like we've been in this week for about 3.
20 days.
That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
It's going way
Not
too
for me, but
It's
today,
going short 'cause my birthday's
but
this
today
weekend,
was like,
and
I just
that-
keep focusing on that.
It's super. Well, you put whatever really
Alright. So, with all of this information, with knowing that we're only dealing with 10 and 20, 10 and 20, does anybody have an idea of the equations? What do you think?
X times 2 equals Y.
So close. Wait, you said X times 2, so just like 2X?
Yeah.
Yeah, equals
2X equals Y. Okay? So Christian talked about maybe needing to do some division. We kind of had to do a little bit of division at the beginning. We had to do 20 divided by 10 to figure out what we're going to be doing. All right, so make sense?
Yeah.
You sure? I'm glad that they're explaining it to you. That's perfect. I'm not even mad.
That makes sense
All right, so X is your days, Y is your money.
Money.
So I'm going to say you're starting with 10 and you're increasing until the chart is filled. What are you increasing by? 10. All right, so this next one is going to be 20. What are you multiplying each row by? 2. So technically, your X equals 10, so then you do 10 times 2, which gives you $20. All right, fill that chart out with your group members. Yeah. It's increasing by your X increases by 10. Your Y increases by, look, baby, when you fill out the chart, you're about to see it. Because it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on.
I don't think we're missing.
We had everybody in Mixie's class.
Yeah, I don't think we're missing.
We had everyone number.
Yeah.
Stand up when you have your chart out. If you're standing, is your mouth moving? This is why we don't do anything fun in this class, because y'all cannot be quiet. So half your table is standing, half your table is not. You're supposed to work together. You're done? Get it? All right. So as you're filling out this chart, because Ace was kind of confused and he was like, I don't understand kind of like the increase by 10. In this column, we have to increase by 10 because of this information right here, right? Every 10. So your X is increasing by 10. Therefore, your Y is increasing by 20. So if I went all the way down, and I multiply by 2 for everything, Okay, and that is essentially what your chart should look like. So in 80 days, how much does she save? $160. All right. Go ahead, glue this into your notebook. Silent lunch, starting on Tuesday. Why are you getting silent lunch? I'm done telling y'all to stop talking. Or better yet, I'll just take out of yours on Friday today. I like that better. All right, slide over to the left side of, or the right side of your notebook. All right, independent, dependent variable practice and today's date. Looking at question number 1. It says Peter works at the Tasty Burger. The graph represents the amount of money he earns each hour. Which list shows the dependent quantities in the graph? Okay, so first and foremost, let's identify, we have our X and our Y. So what do we know about X and Y? What do we know about the X and the Y? Raheem.
X is the independent and Y is the dependent.
Right, so knowing strictly the X is independent, Y is dependent, this question is very easy, right? Because you're looking at the quantities that are over here on this line. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 goes with our X, right? So cross that one out. 102, or sorry, 101, 202, 303, 4, that does, I don't even know where those numbers came from. Like, nonsense. Cross that out. 11, 22, 33, 44. Where did those numbers come from? I don't know either. Alright, so process of elimination. Using a little bit of the knowledge that you have learned, you realize that A is the correct answer for this one. Strictly knowing which one is the X and which one is the Y. Alright, number 2. I have no idea. Mrs. Ganesh can drive her car 20 miles on 1 gallon of gas. She made the graph below to show how many miles and she can drive her car when it has different numbers of gallons of gas G. Which statement about the dependent variable is correct? So again, this is our X, this is our Y. Okay, so read through them. Read through A, B, C, and D. Give me a thumbs up when you've read through them. Not when you have your answer, but just when you've read through them. Alright. Stand up if you picked A. The dependent variable is M because it is mentioned first. Alright. So does it matter if it's mentioned first or second?
No.
Okay. Alright, B, stand up if you said the dependent variable is G because it is mentioned second. So does it matter? Does it matter the order in which I give you the information? Alright, stand up if you pick C, the dependent variable is M because it's on the y-axis. Joseph, move your chair in a little bit. Alright, obviously, C is the correct answer. So, for me, I feel like the point of this little very mini lesson is just understanding that knowing your X and your Y, that the X is the independent variable and the Y is the dependent variable is so important. Alright? Take this, glue it in. My math hurts right now, Jason. Alright, so this is what you're actually probably going to be exposed to on the test next week as well as the EOG. So you have a table, you have an equation, and what you're doing, how you solve these types of questions, you're gonna label, yes, you must label your X and your Y so that you can see it. So the Y is already done. I put my X over here just because this little thing looks, I don't know. They have given you the first dot. They did the first dot for you. You have to do the work in your notebook. I was gonna maybe let you do it on this page. I lost my mind for a second. So you're gonna do your work in your notebook. So turn the page. So independent, dependent variable practice. How did they get, come on. Are you gonna just not focus at all? That'd be perfect. Appreciate you. How did they get 11 on their chart? How did they get 11? Did they just pull 11 out of nowhere? Or where did 11 come from? Gabriel.
the equation that is y equals 2x plus 1.
Right, but where did 11 come from? Like, where do we get 11?
5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 1.
Right, so what they did for that first, this thing is seriously gonna get thrown out the window. Favor, will you turn the light on, please? If I exposed my eyes to the light and it doesn't work, that's what I thought. You knew better. All right, so your equation that is given at the top of your box is y equals 2x plus 1, right? They give you all of your x values, correct, in this chart. So for the first one, they do y equals 2 times 5 plus 1 equals 11. So your y equals 11. That is where that 11 comes from. Does that make sense? So whatever number you plug in for x, you're going to solve that equation. It's called substitution method. Remember that? Talked about it a couple days ago. And then your y is going to equal your answer. So for the next number, we're going to do y equals 2 times 4 plus 1 equals what? 2 times 4 plus 1, Jeremiah? 9. All right, the next one, y equals 2 times 3 plus 1. What does that equal? 7? The next one is y equals 2 times 2 plus 1. What does that equal? Haley? And the last one is y equals 2 times 1 plus 1. What does that equal? Gabriel? 3. So on your chart, on your paper, you are going to put in 9, 7, 5, 3. Now you're going to graph these points. They give you your x, they give you your y, right? So the first one, 5, 11. You're going to go over 5 because that is your x, and you're going to go up 11. So 5, 11. Okay? Then you're going to go over to the right 4 and up to 9. You're going to go to the right 3 up to 7, to the right 2 up to 5, and then to the right 1 up to 3. And what kind of line does that form? Straight line. That is putting everything, independent, dependent variable, together. The chart, the equation, the graphing, everything. This is what you're going to be asked to do on the EOG, on the unit test. It is going to give you an equation, or it's going to give you a table that's filled out, and it's going to give you an equation, and it's going to say which chart matches. So what you have to do with your equation, if your chart's already filled out, you're going to have to plug in your x, and it's got to equal your y. Okay? If it doesn't equal your y, then it's not the right answer. On your chart, or on your graph, you would have to go over and say, okay, well, my x is going to be 1, my y is going to be 3. You're going to plug that information in. If that chart makes your statement true, then that's the right answer. So if you can understand all of this, solving the equation, putting it in the graph, putting it in the table, if you understand all of that, then you will not have a problem. It's really not that difficult, guys, I promise you. It's using substitution method. That's why we talked about it before we did this. And then it's just solving PIMDOS. And then graphing X and Y. You don't have to graph in the second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. Okay? All right, let's do the second one together. So this was number 1. Let's do number 2 together. So your equation is y equals x minus 2. So the first one they did, y equals 7 minus 2. It's got to equal what? it has to equal 5, right? Because they already told you that's what your answer is. So if this doesn't equal 5, then you know it's wrong. All right, so the next one is y equals 6 minus 2. What is that going to equal? 4. Y equals 5 minus 2. What does that equal? Y equals 4 minus 3. What does that equal? Sorry, I can't. Did I skip one? No.
No, you
What am I
said minus
doing?
3.
Yeah, sorry. All right, sorry. 4 minus 2 equals 2. And then the last one, y equals 3 minus 2, which gives you 1. So what do you do with 4, 5, 3, 2, 1? Emily. Okay? So 4, 5, 3. Oh my Lord, why? See, this week's got to go. It has got to go. Tired. You know, that's how I count. I can't spell, I can't read, and apparently I don't know my order of numbers. Dude, you ready? Alright, so, try this again. 3, 2, 1. Woo, that was tough. Shh. Alright, go ahead. Someone raise your hand and tell me, how am I graphing the first one? How am I graphing the first one? Christian?
You're going to go to the right 7 up 5.
Alright. Someone tell me how to graph the second one. Rock.
You go to the right 6 and up 4.
Okay. The third one, Mason?
You go to the right 5 times and up 3.
Caleb, the fourth one?
You go to the right, 4, and then up 2.
And the last one, Justin.
You go to the right 3 times and go up once.
And then draw your line. Alright. Questions about what you're doing for the rest of the day? None? Okay. What's up?
So we have to do the star, like on number 3, there's a star explaining the steps you took the graph, the waves and velocity. But there's stars on every
I
one.
see them.
And some of them are cut off.
No. I'm not gonna make you do that.
And
All right.
all the work we do in our book, it's just basically like chart.
Yep. Yep. Alright, any other, yes?
Is it basically the same thing on this one, just with,
Figure it out. Just because the letters change, guys, stop for a second, put your pencils down. Just because the letters change doesn't mean anything, right? It's still X, it's still Y technically. It's still, regardless of your letters, the input produces the output. So over here, where it says D equals T to the, or 3 times T, it's backwards. It's okay. Because the T is still what variable? No.
Independent.
The X. It's still the independent variable because it's used to determine your dependent variable. Just because they flip it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't change anything, right? Yeah. Alright. When you're finished, let me see this. And then work on, imagine that. Stop, put your pencils down and tell you who doesn't have to work on that. Just kidding. Cooper B, Gabriel, Cora, Kensley, Jeremiah, Jack, Haley, Jacqueline, Jay, Michaela, Kaylee, Raheem, and Charles. I'm not gonna, you guys are gonna be exempt this week just because of the craziness going on with your iPads. Christian, Mason, Alexa, Ace, and Brock. Now, if you finish between now and when I check this, when you are done with this and I have checked this and you're good to go, then we'll have that conversation. Okay? Alright, go ahead. Gabriel, will you please turn off that light? Oh, I said turn off.
Oh, that is so different.
Now I can't see. Yeah, now I can't see.
Open your eyes. You are fine. Because I teach like this for the last 18 weeks. Don't
My
play
eyes
with me.
needed.
I think it was just because it was a difference.
Such a huge difference. Thanks, you want to throw up.